Rachel and I are here to celebrate what a great day it is to be an Aries because happy birthday, Rachel Vindman.
And to you as well, Marissa Rothkopf Bates.
Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for, in a sense, joining us on our birthday. I'm sorry I couldn't all bake you something. I can't bake you anything because weird things would happen to it traveling to Florida.
It's
Uh,
true. It's true. It's very hard to order stuff like that in a hot climate because you know how like sometimes we're like, oh, but it's like all the time here. So
yeah.
mhm.
And welcome to all our fellow Aries friends and anyone who gets along with Aries, which you should do
Mhm.
because we're the best. Um, do you have any big plans for your birthday other than obviously meeting with all of us?
I don't have any plans tonight necessarily, since my husband decided to run for Senate. Um, he has a fundraiser tonight and he invited me to go with him, and I said, absolutely not. And then he wanted to go out to dinner afterwards, and I'm like, on a school night?
Right.
I and just to say I am 52 today, and before when I was 32, I would have felt the same way. So this really has nothing to do with age. It just has to do with who I am.
I think that makes it I don't sure you shouldn't have to make that statement, but yes. I
Mhm.
agree with you. There's nothing that beats an early night.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's true. And I will say the thing about the campaigning is there's so many different things to go to and events, and I go to a fraction of what Alex does, and he does like hours and hours of call time every day. I don't do any of that, but I still find my like social battery gets drained really quickly. Um, and honestly, I don't know how he does it. There's like so much that goes into it that I would never want to do. So when people are like, you should run public office or yeah, or elected office. I'm like, no way. For all those reasons. But I sometimes I do it makes me wonder about some of the people who are office holders, like, how did that happen?
Hmm. Well, I have some suspicions about some of them. But anyway, let's talk about positive things. Like what made you um like read an interview with your husband in The Guardian this week, and
Mhm,
I think
mhm,
in it he actually mentioned you and
mhm.
said, "I did have to have this discussion with my wife before we decided together as a family
Okay,
to make this
with
leap."
mhm.
And so I wondered, like, what was your thinking if you wanna if you can share it with us?
Well, I really wasn't too excited about it. Um,
Because you have a sort of, interesting backstory about being in the public eye.
yeah, yeah, there's that. I was dubious on whether it's possible, like a actual path to victory. Um, and all those things. But, I thought if we're going to do this, like, you should probably win. And I just wasn't sure that it was possible. And his counter was like, we need to have a big map, which I was like, what does that even mean? Like a literal big map? Or no, he means like we need a lot of chances of places to win in order, we're still not going to get to 60 in the Senate. I mean, that's just the nature of the Senate, I think, in terms of only having this is a special election though, actually here.
Right.
So it's a just a different opportunity. Also here in Ohio are special elections. So it's a 2-year term, and then we have to turn around and do it again in 2 years. And you're talking raising $100 million and then raising another $100 million in 2 years. That's what if you win, congratulations. You get to do it all again in 2 years. And it's a statewide race, which is, it's Florida is a big state with 23 million people. So, yeah, for all those reasons, I was not too excited about it, but here we are, hashtag marriage. I think what I said was, I won't leave you if you do this. And my husband's like, he's the most optimistic person I know who only hears what he wants to hear. And he was like, okay, then we're in. Let's do it. That's a yes from Rachel. But that's okay. That's just how he is. But
So you're
you
very
know,
much the yin to his yang, I
yeah,
guess.
indeed, indeed. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. I was enjoying, I think, not only a more financially comfortable life, but than when he was in the military, but more than that, a life that allowed us to do what we wanted when we wanted. I mean,
Right.
okay, we're not like billionaires or millionaires, so we couldn't like do any. I'm like on timeline though. It wasn't like someone else's schedule. If we wanted to do
Right.
something, we could do it. I mean, the only exception would be maybe our daughter's school, but that was like our biggest impediment. Her school schedule was the biggest thing. So, we were like for 17 years, I think, maybe not that long, almost dating and marriage. He was in the military, and it was always someone else's schedule. And
Yeah.
always, I mean, okay, this is like regular people with regular jobs. You like have to ask for time off. You have to, do things. So, but in the military, it's a lot different. Um, and the moving and everything. And so we were like, it was so exciting to be able to like make choices for ourselves and do things. And now, winning would be going back to someone else's schedule. Though I'm dubious about how much senators work. If he wins, I will tell you guys the straight up truth. Don't worry. I will spill all the secrets.
I think it would be really good for people to actually understand what
Hmm.
it's like to be in the Senate.
The
And
secret life of cookies, the secret life of Senate wives.
oh my god, Netflix, are you out there? This
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
will be a show. Um, I think Uh, just from reading the papers and stuff, I think I have a real sense that you have more of a sense of duty than you're letting on to, for one. But your husband also has a true sense of duty to the United
Hmm.
States. He gave, you
He
know,
does.
so
Hmm.
much. He worked towards the impeachment of he was the whistleblower, the impeachment of Mr. the president, and now a current president now. And he also, like, said, "I don't wanna sit on the sidelines right now." I
Hmm.
mean, it's a kind of if we all wanna do what we can do, he can do something perhaps even bigger, bolder, and
Yeah,
stronger.
I mean, unfortunately, the nature of winning races, I remember way back, it was actually a couple days before Alex was impeached, maybe 2 days, or sorry, not impeached, before he was fired from the White House. Sorry, not impeached, fired from the White House. And I went to a book talk of Rick Wilson's at um, Politics and Prose
Mhm.
in DC, and his book, Everything Trump Touches Dies. I think that was the book that he was doing a book tour for. And he someone said, like, who would you want to run? And this was 2020, early 2020,
Right.
February. And he said, right now, I think Joe Biden, just because he has the name recognition. And so, okay, but actually the truth is not a lot of people know Alex in Florida, or they've like forgotten him or whatever, like we've done all that polling or whatever. But he has a story, so, like, when you kinda jog people's memories, it's there, and then,
Mhm.
obviously, he's been amazing for the people who are plugged in and do remember him. It's been the other part of politics is raising money.
Right.
So, having a platform, being able to raise money, it's just part of it, and, like, I don't like it at all, but it matters. It doesn't matter in all races, like, there are some races where it's not such a big deal if you can literally go out and talk to everyone in your race, so if some smaller, but I mean, again, 23 million people, you have to have money for media, even if it's not traditional media. I mean, there's
Mhm.
all kind of digital ads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all that all costs money to get not, your message out, tell people about you, tell people about your opponent. I mean, all this stuff. So that's just the way it is. And I think he thought he was well positioned to do something like that. And, we'll see about the voter thing, but in terms of like raising money and getting people to buy into his idea is really good. And I know you're going to ask about. I mean, that's going well, I should say. I know you're going to mention. We talked about that. You are going to mention the wins in Florida yesterday. I want to drill down on that a little bit because one of the things I do is I am a co-chair of the Veterans and Military Families Council for the DNC. And we do just that. We represent veterans and military families in that constituency. And yesterday in Florida, we had three special elections. One was won by a Republican. They were all Republican held seats. two were won by Democrats. Everyone knows and talks about, and they were flipped. So we talk about the one in Palm Beach. Yes, President Trump's state representative is now going to be Emily Gregory, who is an amazing military spouse and just an incredible, incredible woman. And that was, I think, an R+11 seat,
Yep.
or Trump has 11. And I mean, she is such an amazing woman who just worked tirelessly and like put in the work to do this. And then the other is Brian Nathan, who like on his own in the Tampa area, like knocked on Hillsborough County,
Mhm.
knocked on doors himself. Like there really wasn't a lot of organization. It was him knocking on doors
And
himself,
he's a
and he
veteran
did.
too.
And he is a veteran, so it was one
You broke up for a second. I don't know if she's broken up
military
forever.
spouse and a veteran. Oh,
Just have to say it again. It's worth
I know
saying
I'm
again.
getting a phone call. I think.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I was getting a phone call. I didn't have my do not disturb.
Mhm.
So yeah, so it's a veteran and a military family member, and a military spouse. And when I was thinking about why, because we have so many veterans and military family members running this time, and
Mhm.
they're doing really, really well. And I just was thinking about this last night and this morning, why this is. I mean, I know why, but really, I know that there's a lot of appeal, especially for veteran candidates. But you know, when you're in the military or you're a military spouse, like you just go where they tell you. I mean, that's kind of like enjoying my
Mhm.
life now that no one's telling me what to do. But you go, you live where they tell you to live, you work where they tell you to work, you do what they tell you to do. And like when we were stationed overseas, especially in Germany, like I mean, either you figure out how to make friends with the people around you, or I guess you learn German, and I didn't do that. So, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I don't
It's okay.
know what is going on here. Back.
There we
I'm gonna
go.
turn on my do not disturb, which I thought was already on, but um, and the I think that there's just something there for the because we're in this country, right? I mean, we're all here together, and because of that,
Mhm.
we need to there's this group of us that is like, well, we can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. We have to figure out how to find common ground, how to talk to people. Because I've seen some of the polling now. Here, hot news. Here. I'm already giving you the hot goss. Okay. Focus groups are so yesterday. Now there's something else. I don't even know what it's called, but it's basically like a focus group. And they do. Are we not connected? Can you
Oh,
not
we're
hear
so
me?
connected. I can totally hear you. I was
Okay.
just scratching my ear.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not like Carol
Oh,
Burnett.
okay. So, maybe but um, it was like this. I totally lost my train of thought. Sorry, sorry, sorry. What was
No,
I
you were
talking
saying
about?
you were giving us the hot goss on it's no longer focus groups, you
Oh,
said.
oh yeah. So it's not focus group. It's like this other thing. But basically, I saw a little bit about what people were saying, and it's this like, okay, I know we're all friendly here, but there's this idea that Dems only talk about how they hate Trump and they don't talk about other things and what they want to do to make things
Mhm.
better. And like, I know that's not true for me. I know that's not true for Alex because I hear him all the time, but that's what they're hearing. So we kind of have to get over that. And all that's to say, like, we need to talk more about what we're for and how we really want to change people's lives and make them better.
Mhm.
And yeah, so
So, the people who won, the 2 Democrats that sort of overturned Republican areas in their special
yeah.
elections yesterday, do you feel that they addressed that? They really like, spoke to independence as
Hmm.
well as like,
Yeah.
I think
So,
your husband was talking about Republicans who feel unmoored by the current
mhm.
president.
Yeah, I think it's really true. I mean, we see that a lot. Like on his first day uh, in Florida, the donors were 13% Republican. Now it's somewhere between 10 and 11% overall, but those are the Florida donors. And
Wow.
the interesting thing is, if you drill down a little bit more and look at it, the number of voters. So in Florida, you can be inactive. I mean, you're still a registered voter and you can still vote, but like if you don't vote for a while, you're considered inactive. And if you sign a petition for a ballot measure, they will not count your signature. And if you sign a signature for a candidate, they will not count, even though I don't see how this is legal. I think it's going to the Supreme Court. It's really wild because you're still registered. But
Mhm.
anyway, they
So you can't I couldn't sign if as a registered Democrat, I couldn't sign for a Republican.
no, you couldn't sign for anyone. If
Oh.
you haven't voted in a certain number of time and you've been moved to inactive and you sign a petition because you
Oh.
want something to be a ballot measure, it wouldn't count.
Okay, folks, better
Yeah,
vote.
it's wild. It's very crazy. But what we noticed is a lot of those Republicans who gave him money, they're inactive, which means no one's calling them. No one is asking them anything because they're considered as like not a reliable voter because that's not the people who get phone banked. That's not how any of that stuff works. So that's interesting because it's like kind of re-energizing like some people who feel basically politically homeless.
Mhm.
And we hope to kind of key in on that. Listen, see, I went from I didn't really want him to do it, and now I'm like, okay? So
Right.
I am totally on this team. I'm a reluctant member. And I make a lot of snacks and a lot of chocolate chip cookies for the team because inexplicably my house is still the campaign headquarters. And I mean, I don't hate it, but I'm also like, don't you guys think you'd be more comfortable in like a professional setting that's not my dining room table? And then I realized they're like, but your food is good. And I was like, is it because I feed you like every day, most days? What
Mhm.
started out as me just offering them like fruit and vegetables has turned into like full on meals. So, but a lot of them at first they were staying in hotels, and I was like, are you guys eating vegetables? Because if
But,
I'm
like
just putting out chips for you, then I'm worried that you're not eating anything healthy because you're here like 14 hours, and then
right,
what are you
so
having the rest of the
they're eating, like, Toblerone bars and chips because
Yes,
that's what's
yes,
in the
yeah.
hotel, yeah. So you're doing a good thing for people, see? That's about
I
as
mean,
supportive as it gets, and I also think it is very I think that's a great story, though. I don't mean story, but I mean, like, it's great
yeah,
that it's so, like, at your kitchen table, right? And it's
yeah,
also funded by small donors for the most part.
it is. We have a lot of small donors and like people send checks for $5, $10. It's so, you know, when you see that, it's hard not to just totally buy in because you see that people are supporting in big and small ways. And I think that's what's so meaningful for like we're not loud and crazy. I mean some on the Dem side are, but I mean we don't like I mean I don't have a flag. So I mean like a US flag, but not like a flag with anyone's like a politician's name on it. And
Right.
I mean I'm probably wear a t-shirt for Alex, but I mean it's not something I regularly do is wear like you know I just don't do things like this. And so I think there's this idea of like they don't even care. I'm like, well, it's not a football team. It's actually like I mean, it's politics, it's policy, it's not a game. But they see that as kind of a lack of enthusiasm, which is weird. But you see that people on the Dem side or on the normal side, if you want to say, like they're engaged and they do care, but we just have kind of a different way of expressing it. So it's been fun to see that and to see it in, I mean, there was a teacher and Alex, she gave him a very large donation and he called him last week with call time and he didn't even want to ask her for anything else. And she was like, you know what? Since you called me, I'm going to give you another $1,000. And he was like, no, I mean, he was like, listen, I don't want you to put you in a difficult position. Like you're a teacher. She's like, no, it's important. And I feel I can do this. And I just feel really strongly that we need to support people who are going to put our country back together and people that really care. And I mean, he was like, had tears in his eyes. It sounds like a Sir story from Trump, but it was genuine. Like this really did happen. There were other people in the room who verified it. Not that Alex is, like, used to making stuff up, but
No, he doesn't seem like the kinda guy who makes stuff up. But also I mean, but, there was a type of voter like my mother who would be watching people on the news or whatever who were running for office, whether they were in Oregon or Michigan, in other words, not in New Jersey where she was,
Mhm.
and she'd send them, like, $25, $50 because she
Yeah,
wanted to be able to, like it's not just about necessarily your state, right? all those senators appear to be making a
Mhm.
lot of decisions for all of us. Um,
Yes.
Even like the way our airports run. Um,
Or not, or
or
don't
not
run.
making decisions or no run, right, also. And it was funny because not funny, but I don't know if everybody saw that Delta said that they were getting rid of the special, like, red or
Mhm.
whatever it's called, the red
It
desk or
makes me
whatever
laugh.
for, Congress people, senators who were got special treatment when they showed up at the airport, um, and
And
Delta
I'm like,
wanted.
"What special treatment is this?" Like, I wanna drill down on what exactly were they getting, and
Well, they were getting escorted to the front of the line
must
and
be
everything.
nice.
But now Delta, if they're flying Delta, they have to wait in the line, the long, long TSA line with everybody else. And that was Delta's statement to them to like get your act together. And that warmed
Yeah,
my heart.
I have some issues with Delta because, right after the election, their CEO was like, "Well, thank goodness," because like, thought that, Pete Buttigieg's, like, Secretary Buttigieg, that his, like, policies were too, like, too friendly to the consumer, and all this stuff, and now you see, like, couple different things that they seem to be kind of, like, changing their tune. I'm like, "Well, I mean, it's it's another thing that I saw on, like, these very top lines of this, like, whatever, I don't even know what they call it. It's, like, this new thing that's not focus groups. But someone said, I don't think politicians understand how truly and hard it is for people who are working hard, that they cannot make ends meet. They cannot survive. And I just read it a few hours ago and I just keep thinking about that. Like, so many people are really, really struggling and they cannot get ahead. And this idea that we have elected people who don't care is like, it just breaks my heart because it's really, that must be a hopeless feeling. I mean, to think that.
I mean, you made a good point in an earlier Substack from this month where you talked about we can give $2 billion to this war in Iran, but we are doing it at the cost of veterans.
Mhm. I mean, yeah, and we're not, I mean, there's a lot of other things that we're spending money on, but the thing is that we're cutting veteran care after already said it's we already made a commitment to them. I mean, like, this is what we promised them.
When
With
they went into the
very
military, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and and then we're just taking it away. But when you look at what we're spending in Iran and how else that money can be used, because for me, it's very difficult to fathom those sums of money. I mean, it's just it's I can't imagine. But when you break it down of like, okay, a Patriot interceptor missile costs this much, and this is what we could do with that. Like, these are the people we could help, for that much money. And that is a really the only way I can conceptualize it,
Right.
because like I don't even know like what insider trading. I've never like bought or traded stocks. I have no idea what that means. So if you tell me that like he's like trying to Trump is pumping and dumping stocks and doing all this, I'm like, probably, because he also does a lot of crooked things, but I don't know what that means. And I think most Americans don't know what that means. And so we just kind of and then I think we kind of feel like, okay, well, that's just for really wealthy people, and that's not me, and I'm not that. So
But also,
no,
people aren't hearing that story too. A lot,
that's true.
especially
Yeah,
like
that much.
the filter that goes into reporting on OAN and Fox and any of those, you know, podcasts that people listen to or even radio shows that still exist. Um, they're not
Fair,
hearing
fair.
they're not hearing any of that. So they don't hear that they're even like this sort of insider trading, which was reported, I think, today in the Times. Um,
Yeah, and but I don't like understand how it works enough to say like, I'm like, explain this to me like I'm four,
mhm.
but not that you would have a 4-year-old trading stocks, but
But maybe they
like,
do. Maybe that's who's
yeah, I
doing
mean,
the stuff.
maybe the very advanced ones.
But sometimes I
I'm
think
sorry,
they're they're so much like toddlers in the way they react to things, like, on and hot and cold, that I think maybe they
Yeah,
might have a little toddler in them.
they might be onto something. I'm gonna turn off my camera because I need to drive my daughter somewhere, but I'm gonna stay. I'm so sorry to do this,
No,
but,
no, that's okay. I will
okay, I
stare.
I told you I was totally free, and then I picking her up, but she was, like, doing something that ran a little bit late. This is my real life, like, it's all me. That's the other thing about Alex running is that's another reason that I knew that we don't have family here to help, so I knew that it would be all the parenting stuff would be all me, and that would limit the things that I could attend and do with him because, you
Mhm.
know, the kids, they do the things and, someone has to actually do the parenting. None of that stops just because someone is running for Senate.
Right, and Alex is still involved, he's just tends to be away, and
He
you
does
tend to
take
be.
Ellie to school every day, which has been a nice break, and
Mhm.
then that's his time to spend time with her, and that's
Yeah.
been really lovely, but he is still involved, like, I mean, someone has to teach math, it's not gonna be me, but
Mhm.
he not if we want her to do well, but, it's still like, yes, so I'm listening to you, and I'm
I
turning off my
actually think that in the interests of safety, you should not drive
Ah,
while we're talking, and that
ok
we should wish
okay,
each other a happy birthday,
okay, I'm
and we
so
should.
sorry to cut it short, but,
No,
it's
no, no, no,
always
but the
so fun to talk to
the
you.
mother in me says, "You should drive safely, talk to your daughter, have that nice car time while you're staring straight ahead and
But
she's staring straight
that
ahead,
is
and
true,
you can have
yes.
all the good talks in the world.
Mhm.
Best talks happen in the car."
Aw, thank
Um,
you.
and I wish
Well,
you
I hope you
a
have
happy
a wonderful
birthday.
birthday. Are you gonna make yourself what's wrong with my sound? It keeps fading in and out.
I can hear you okay. And
Okay,
thank
I'm
you to
glad
my brother Paul for a happy birthday.
for
My brother David wishes you a happy birthday too. He couldn't be here though,
Aw,
so the whole Rothkopf
okay.
family wishes you a happy birthday.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, what are your special plans? I didn't ask you that.
I don't have any special plans right now. I'm just sort of having a great day of I taught earlier, and it's just a little bit of relaxation. We're gonna eat something delicious soon. I'm pointing at my husband, he's over there, and and he's waving at you. And there will undoubtedly be some sort of ice cream and cake because right?
Yeah, I did have a flamingo cupcake pull-apart cake. I'll send you a picture. I'll text you a picture. It was I don't know how to text you here, but it was from Publix. It's really, really good, and we had it with a campaign, and then we'll have more, and we'll still have leftovers tomorrow. So that was fun. And I ordered it and I picked it up myself, and I'm just gonna be honest about that because
But that
otherwise
but that's what happens sometimes, and that's okay. And sometimes you soon your daughter will drive and she'll go pick it
yeah,
up.
I
Oh,
know. Yeah, I mean, right. But when you're a control freak, it's just better if you do things yourself and then, don't
sometimes
get mad.
it's true. And for this week in the contrarian, I am gonna be doing the recipe in the contrarian, and I'm gonna have a version of my birthday cake, that
I
involves
can't wait.
lemon curd and vanilla cake, and there's gonna be cream. It's gonna be good.
Okay,
So
I'm
I
gonna
share it with
remind
you.
myself to Kathy is asking about wine, maybe later. I'm not the biggest drinker, but I was considering having a glass of wine tonight,
Just a
which is
may
like,
I might have a little one. I'm not the biggest drinker either, but still.
yeah, sometimes it messes with my sleep and we at 52, I really need all
Love
sleep.
sleep. Okay, well, I
Okay,
hope you sleep well and you have a wonderful
okay,
year,
thank
and my
you.
love to everybody, and thank you
Okay.
everybody for being here today.
Yes, thank you for joining us. All
See
right,
ya.
bye.
Bye.